Good afternoon. Welcome back to ESL Lab Miami. I'm Kathy, and today's topic is the simple past tense. The simple past tense is one of the easiest tenses in English. That's because the simple past tense has one very clear, definite use, which is to talk about actions that are complete or finished. Closed is the simple past of the verb close. The stock market closed higher yesterday. The form of the verb in the past tense depends on whether it is a regular verb or an irregular verb. Regular verbs add ed to the end of the verb, such as talked, and irregular verbs have a change in spelling and pronunciation in part of the verb. For example, speak, spoke. There is really no way to know if a verb is regular or irregular just by looking at it. This is something you will learn by using the verb. Time words are good clues that signal which tense you should be using. They usually go at the end of the sentence. This is always true, not just for the simple past tense. A stamp cost 2 cents 100 years ago. Einstein proposed the theory of relativity more than 100 years ago. If you are using any of these words and expressions, you should be speaking in the simple past tense. 5 years ago, 3 hours ago, yesterday, last night, last week, in 1975. The most wonderful thing about the simple past tense is that the verb form is always the same, no matter what the subject is. Take a look at this. I worked yesterday, you worked yesterday, he worked yesterday, she worked yesterday, we worked yesterday, and they worked yesterday. The verb never changes. Although the form is always written the same, the pronunciation of the ed ending does vary. There are actually 3 pronunciations, depending on the sound the verb ends in. First of all, if the verbs end in a T or a D sound, like the T at the end of want, the ending is pronounced as an extra syllable, as in wanted and needed. Second, if the verb ends in a B, V, N, L, or vowel sound, like the V at the end of arrive, only the D ending is pronounced, as in arrived and smiled. We don't pronounce it as an extra syllable. For instance, we do not say played, we say played. Finally, if the verb ends in a K, P, S, ch, or sh sound, like the K at the end of talk, the ending is pronounced like a T, as in talked. In English, when we have a negative verb, we don't use the past tense form of the verb. Instead, we use the helping verb did and the simple form of the verb. The government did not sign the agreement. The company did not hire anyone for the job. We can also use the contraction, didn't. We didn't have time to finish. You are probably already familiar with helping verbs in English. We always use helping verbs in negative sentences and in questions. So we also use did to represent the past tense in questions. And as always with questions, the helping verb comes before the subject. Did you vote on election day? When did Alaska become a state? Notice we use vote, not voted, and become, not became, because we have the helping verb did. So we have 3 ways to express the past tense in English. Affirmative statements, he won the election. Negative statements, he did not win the election. And questions, did he win the election? Like regular verbs, irregular verbs have only one form in the past tense. There is only one verb in English that has different forms in the past tense. Do you know which one it is? You will see that a lot of our common everyday verbs are irregular, so you will have plenty of opportunities to practice and learn them. Some verbs have the same pronunciation change, such as make and made and pay and paid, and think and thought and teach and taught. And some verbs have no change at all, such as cost and hit. Be is the only verb that has 2 forms in the past tense. I was at school yesterday. Barbara was not at school yesterday. Were you at school yesterday? Well, that's it for today. Please visit my blog, ESLLabmiami.blogspot.com, for practice exercises on the simple past tense. And thanks for listening.